Good morning, good
Hi,
afternoon,
Ken.
and is it good night or good evening? You keep changing it every time I
Good
say it.
morning, afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. And when I'm calling a baseball game and a pitcher strikes out a batter and it's the third out of the inning and he does it, say, on three pitches, I say good morning, good afternoon, good night. That's the end of the third. It's 2-2.
I love it. So, gee,
Wow, a little bit has
assassination
happened
attempt.
since we were here last.
Assassination. Well, we said that. We said that. Now, I did not expect an assassination attempt, and I do not believe in political assassinations. I hate Donald Trump. I wish he wasn't running and wasn't going to be president. I don't wish he would be dead. That's just. I mean, it's a state of affairs here. It feels like it's the '60s almost again. In some ways better, in some ways worse. But I did take umbrage to your Facebook postings. I almost unfriended you because they were so freaking obnoxious.
All right, which one offended you the most? Do you
When you
have a
started
list?
out saying Biden hasn't said anything, Biden
Yeah.
said it in the first moment he had an opportunity to. He,
Uh,
see,
You got to get a tweet right out. You got to get a tweet out within 5 minutes.
you can't. No, 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 not on a tweet. Then you'd say, "Oh, assassination day," but all he can do is tweet. No, 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 no. Listen, you can't attack Biden every opportunity you get. I don't attack Trump every opportunity I get. In fact, I've said his handling in the debate was masterful. His handling of the assassination attempt, I mean, that just gained another 3%
If
for
if
him.
if Biden did anything worth me praising him for, Ken, I'd praise him for it.
You can't say there's nothing Biden has done in 3 years. Nothing, zero.
I can't think of one thing.
All right. Well, then you're part of the cult,
I
and
guess
I will
so.
try and change your mind
I guess I am, Ken. So put me down as a cultist.
then you do this posting of you know Trump versus Bullet, one for Trump, and then Biden falling down the staircase. Seriously,
Yeah, Ken, they're memes. All right,
I
let's not
understand
go.
that means, but these are serious times, and they call for.
No, no. Look, they are serious times, and as time goes on here, and we find out more about this thing, the fact that Kimberly Cheadle not only hasn't been fired yet as the head of the Secret Service, but hasn't been arrested for their behavior is truly astonishing to
Not
me.
clear yet what happened. I mean, it's really
They
not
knew
clear.
30 minutes before that this guy was there and did nothing. They let Trump go. They let Trump get shot, Ken.
Yeah, but nobody, the police didn't do anything. Nobody did anything.
Nobody did anything.
Right?
But where does the buck stop? Who's in
Well,
charge of protecting the president?
well, I agree, but the police are also in charge of protecting that arena.
All right, then they're a bunch of fuck ups too.
Hey,
But the
listen,
Secret
if
Service, she's
if
in
a
charge. She's a DEI hire. She has no business being there. She should be fired. Biden should have fired her by now. But of course, this guy, now he's got COVID again. I thought the shot meant that you couldn't get COVID anymore. He said that, and Rachel Maddow said that too.
never said you
Now
can't.
he's got COVID. He's within a weekend of being done. They're going to kill him off.
So first of all, wait, now you think they're trying to kill him?
That's a metaphor. He's
Look,
gone.
look, what? Who said that first? I said
You
that.
did.
Now I said a week to 10 days.
Right. You're
Uh,
close.
yeah, I mean, I think the writing is on the wall, and I don't think Harris is necessarily part of the deal anymore. Which
They
she
don't want
was
her
to
at
begin with.
all, Ken, in my
But she
book.
still she polls better than Biden. But you just asked me like I think Mark Kelly from Arizona senator. That's you got some street cred. Wes Moore from Maryland, young, good vice presidential candidate. I think Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan, swing state. I mean, I could see a Kelly Whitmer ticket would be significant.
Kelly certainly interesting story. Astronaut. The husband of what's her name? She was shot.
Right.
Herself. I can't remember. Gabby.
Gabby,
Something.
Gabby
Um,
Clifford,
um,
Gifford,
yep. Gabby and became a senator. He's got a good compelling story. I don't know if there's anybody other than Harris or any of the like old stalwarts of the Senate who you don't want anyway, who have enough name recognition. I mean, Kelly, not he'd that's something that they'd have to overcome really, really
I agree.
quickly is name recognition, and I think Trump would handle no matter who they throw on there.
But here's the thing. If you look, once again, if we're talking about 10% undecideds, let's say 10%. If there are people who say, I just can't vote for Trump, I don't think name recognition matters. I think name recognition matters when you're trying to take Trump supporters and don't waste your time. A Trump supporter is not going to change, period end. Period end. You can have all the Biden people go with whomever takes over, and then you look at the 10%. How do you get those 10%? Okay. I don't think Harris does it. She does it better than Biden. And remember those swing states, if you look at the polls, now we haven't had the bump from the convention yet, but the polls in those swing states, Biden is still leading in 3 of them, which is a miracle. I mean, I don't believe in polls. I don't buy any of these polls. I think Trump is, this is a if the election was today, it'd be a landslide. It'd be worse than 72, Nixon and McGovern. I think Massachusetts would go for Trump.
I saw something this morning where said something like Trump was on target to get 300 plus electoral votes. Wow.
Sure.
All right. So after we heard Saturday night, and I was playing an anniversary party. I was DJing an anniversary party, and I'm sitting there playing music, and people are dancing, and I see this, and of course, I think it's a hoax.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Do you really?
But yeah, I really thought it was, and then I find out, I realize it's not, and then you realize Trump survived, and at that point, right there, when he survived, and you start seeing the pictures of the fist, and election over. It was over right then and there. You guys can march out anybody you want to. You're not going to beat them.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. The people who don't like Trump don't care how heroic he was. Now, once again, if you're going for if you notice, I used to say 15% undecideds. I'm saying 10% undecideds. I think he will certainly get some undecideds. Wow, he's a really heroic guy. You put up a young person against Trump. Now Trump becomes the old guy, right? I'm not so sure. Look, even today, it's still considered a toss-up, which I don't believe, but I still think that's what the polls are saying. I agree with you. I think the people who love Trump just love him all the more.
Oh, and yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and I wouldn't say I was a never Trumper, but I certainly wasn't a Trump guy. I was a DeSantis guy. In 16, it took me a while to get on board. After this happened Saturday and he survived, I'm never, the last time I had a bumper sticker on my car was when Paul LePage was running for re-election. And of course, I was living in the fashionable West End of Portland at the time, and my Ford Explorer got keyed all over the place. So I stopped with bumper stickers, but Saturday night I went on Amazon and I bought a Trump 24 sticker.
Yeah, I saw your posting when I was thinking of Detroit.
I bought that. So, but that foolishness aside, talking about who might be converted here, I think enough will be converted of the undecided because of what I say is the power of the presentation, and that is Trump with the fists, the flag in the background, blood streaming down his face, and Biden last night trying to get off the airplane in Delaware.
Biden's going to be out of the race. Biden's out of the race. Biden is no longer the nominee. He's done, gone, history.
So you're convinced?
Oh, I was convinced a week ago. I'm more convinced now.
I'm 75% convinced.
I thought he was writing it out until the assassination attempt. And then it's like, and Jesus, could anybody be luckier than Donald Trump in the world? I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
He should go buy a lot of
him getting shot is really lucky.
No, he this much.
Not that much.
I mean, it's how did this guy not kill him? 8 bullets. It's like, I mean, he's not, and I don't know if this kid knows how to shoot a gun. Okay. And I don't know much about shooting guns, but I mean, this is the luckiest guy. I mean, he's Teflon Don. Everything rolls off him. He's a survivor. I mean, I could see somebody saying, well, it's God's will that you survived. It's God's will that you be president.
I've heard that.
People saying that. There's no doubt in my mind,
I've heard that. So this Secret Service stuff, the more time goes by, the worse they look. I'm astounded at the facts that we really know that are absolutely, you
Yeah,
cannot
I hear you.
question
I hear
that
you.
they're facts. How they let this happen? How do you let Trump go out there? Why don't you tell Trump, look, wait 10 minutes. We're going to get this guy. And then you can go on and speak. He was seen in the background of, I don't know how many videos, casing out the building, walking with a ladder, walking with a gun, everything. And they did nothing.
I said, I'm not going to say the Secret Service did a good.
Somebody wants, the president wanted Trump dead.
Well, I know. And so you can't,
And
I know.
this guy to me is Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well,
They
and you
killed
guys,
Oswald because he was the fool. And this is the same thing.
I'm not going to start saying something the Secret Service wanted Donald Trump dead. And and that's
Maybe you
why I
go
hope,
higher than that.
and I hope, you think Joe Biden directed the Secret Service to kill Donald Trump?
No, but do you think it's possible that in 1963 the CIA directed Lee Harvey Oswald in a conspiracy to kill John F. Kennedy?
Well, that was the CIA. I'll say the CIA. I don't, if you tell me the CIA did it, I'm there. I got it. I don't trust the CIA doing anything.
Okay,
They'll do whatever. So that's possible.
this was a hit job. This is
Yeah.
a hit job, hired hit job.
Well, then hire somebody who can shoot a gun. I mean, seriously. I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald was hardly a sharpshooter, even though he was supposedly.
He was a Marine.
That was because he didn't do it. There was people in the grassy knoll who did it, but he was a long way away and did better. I mean, this guy was not that far away.
Right. He was
I do
120
want to say,
yards.
if Donald Trump, and I'm not going to listen to a speech tonight because I got to try and keep my dinner down and I don't want to vomit. But if Donald Trump, is a reborn man by this life-changing experience, and he comes out uniting and conciliatory and tones down the rhetoric, then I think you're really talking about a potential swing of the undecided voters. If he reverts to the Donald that he was, then I think the Democrats can still win the election with the right candidate.
For what it's worth, as we record this at noonish on Thursday, the 18th, Axios came out with a story this morning, says behind the curtain, top Dems now believe that Biden will exit. I sent you the story. I don't know if you have a chance to read it, but several top Democrats privately tell Axios the rising pressure of party congressional leaders and close friends will persuade President Biden to decide to drop out of the race as soon as this weekend. So he gets sick yesterday, we hear, has COVID, we hear.
Great excuse.
Right, but he also said, if the doctors came to me and said, then so he those are weasel words. That's a weasel phrase. It'll allow him to weasel out, if you will.
They also said it's a mild case of COVID. So I thought, great. He's got a very bad case of COVID. He's not going to be able to go on the road for 2 weeks. He simply is not going to be able to campaign. He's giving it up. That's what I would have done if I was him, frankly. And I think I don't think he can do. Now, Kamala Harris is going to be hard to beat in an open primary, but I don't think it's impossible. And I don't think people are going to just you're going to have, if you have the Obamas, and I think the Obamas will come out strong in support of Harris. Probably Hillary will too. That may be difficult to overcome.
Her presidential campaign, though, in 2010 was one of the worst on
I agree. Listen, I agree.
She polled miserably. People did not like her.
I agree.
And I
don't as bad as Hillary's in 2016, but I hear what you're saying.
I think Hillary is infinitely better.
I don't want Harris. Mark Kelly or Whitmer, and I just think it's too soon to have a woman candidate. Whitmer, I think I'd love Whitmer, but I just don't see it. Gavin Newsom, I don't know why nobody's talking about him. I think he has too much baggage from California, and people don't like California, despite Ronald Reagan getting elected and Richard Nixon.
Yeah, that's a different time, man.
Yeah. So I'd like to see. I think Kelly would be an ideal candidate, and Whitmer.
Really, I can't see it. He's kind of a deadbeat,
He's an astronaut, man.
Great.
American hero. You're trying to combat somebody with a bloody fist and the American flag? Come on. If John Glenn was alive, I'd nominate him.
John Glenn, yeah. I bet, when we rank astronauts, John Glenn a way better astronaut than Mark Kelly. I mean, John Glenn was the first man to orbit the Earth, or was that
I'm
Shepard?
not comparing astronauts,
By
but
the way, John Glenn said that Ted Williams was the best pilot he ever saw.
really,
Yes, because they served together in World War II.
John Glenn. That's a great American hero. There's no doubt about
Huh?
it. So John Glenn was a great American hero. So look, it's not over for the Democrats yet. Also, remember, salvaging the House and maybe the Senate. I mean, even if Trump wins, if you can get control of either the House or the Senate, that will help somewhat.
All right. So I was going to ask you about coattails and stuff like that, which leads me to this. What do you, as a Democrat, make of Jared Golden and his comments, which have certainly been interesting? I think he's doing everything he can, and I think Jared Golden will get reelected in the second district for as long as he wants to. He got a break with ranked choice voting. He's parlayed it into he's got tenure there.
Yeah.
And I think when Angus decides to stop running for Senate, or Susan Collins, he'll run for Senate.
Yeah.
But what do you make of his comments? He had an op-ed piece about Trump and all this kind of stuff. What did you make of it?
I think he was trying to have the second district love him even more. I mean, he certainly sounds like a Republican to me. And some of us remember, except for him converting his view on guns after the Lewiston shooting, I think he's been very conservative. I like Jared Golden. I think he's very conservative. He's a very conservative Democrat, although I think John Baldacci was too, not that conservative. But I like Jared Golden. I think he's a good kind of moderate guy. And he's the fact that he's saying that the world's not going to end if Donald Trump gets elected. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think that the people who get hurt by Donald Trump presidency is poor black women who want an abortion in the South and immigrants. Those are the people that get hurt by Donald Trump. You and I, we're white men. We have no issue whatsoever, right?
Well, I mean, a bag of groceries could be less expensive. I'd appreciate that.
Did you see what happened with his? Did you see what happened with his comments yesterday? What happened to the tech stocks when he talked? Tech stocks had the worst. NASQ had the worst day in history because Donald Trump was talking about tech-related things and South Korea and production.
Donald, don't talk about tech stuff, okay? Hey,
no kidding.
Susan Collins came out the other day and said she won't vote for either candidate. She's not going to vote for Trump and she's not going to vote for Biden. I say that's being weaselly, and
I say that's being consistent.
And
like Nikki Haley. How does Nikki Haley come out and say she's been converted to Trump?
She's look. JD Vance called Donald Trump Hitler 8 years ago.
But you know what? JD Vance at least had a logical explanation. Look, I was against Trump, but I saw what he done when he was president, and I changed my mind. I get that. Nikki Haley was this year. He's incompetent, incapable, should not be president.
Kamala Harris was running against Joe Biden, and although she didn't call him a racist, she called him a racist.
She called everybody a racist. So
okay, but they kissed and made up.
I understand, but that's
now she's the freaking vice president. So
see, I think
go back to Bush, go back to old man Bush, voodoo economics.
I know.
Reagan.
I know.
This stuff gets forgotten very quickly.
Yeah, I would have if he had picked Nikki Haley, the election would be over. I don't care who they put up for president for the Democrats.
It wouldn't have bothered me. I'm not her biggest fan, but it wouldn't have bothered me. What I'm happy about, I mean, I like, what I know about JD Vance. I've not read his book. I hear it's really good, and they made it into a movie. I didn't know that.
It's actually a very good book, to be honest.
I didn't see it. I'll have to take a look at it. But what I like about it is they're young. I mean, he's 39 years old.
I'll give you that.
You and I have kids older than JD Vance.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's time for us to get rid of these
old white men,
angry old white men.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know if by the time we talk, Biden will be out of the race. But if we talk in 2 weeks, we will not be talking about Joe Biden.
Well, let's make a point of it right now that from as we record this on Thursday noon on July 18th, we're gonna get together in a week. So let's both right now say when we next convene here on the Ken and Mike Redo podcast, will Joe Biden be out of the race for 2024? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to be a dink and say no.
Okay, I think he will be, but I wouldn't put money on it. But I'd put money on the next time we talk the week after, definitely out. By the way, one other thing before we go. A virtual convention, really? How obvious can you be? The Democrats think we want to rush a virtual convention so you don't see Donald, so you don't see Joe Biden, and you have no ability to debate. It's gone. It's history. I mean, did they really think that was going to work? I mean,
if they do that, it's over more than ever. If they do that,
it's just insane. I mean, what are you think people can't figure that out? Seriously?
got to try to go as much to the motto of business as usual, keeping things as normal as possible. If you start tinkering around with a process like this, it's going to make Biden appear even weaker than he actually is.
And by the way, the fact that they manipulated Hillary into being the candidate over Bernie Sanders, the DNC manipulated that. That may be the saving grace to not having Kamala Harris the automatic candidate. Because if they really want to show that they're not engineering this behind the scenes, she can't be the candidate. I don't think that's going to happen. I think she'll be the candidate, but I think it's a mistake. And I think it shows the inner workings of the Democratic Party. And it's always been like that. Since Mayor Daley in Chicago, it's always been that way.
Is there a Democratic dark horse that could ride in on a white horse and save them?
Well, normally I'd say Hillary, to be honest.
That's what I was thinking.
I think Hillary would be a brilliant person to have come up. I really do. I really do.
I think it would be really interesting, and I think it would be a much closer race. That's for sure.
I agree with you. So
right now, this is over.
Let's give to her campaign. How about?
Okay.
All right, bud. Great seeing you. We'll
too.
talk next week, okay?
Don't unfriend me on Facebook.
I won't. I didn't. You're lucky. I see you later, bud.